Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we're back on the dev server and it's time to have a look at the squadron vehicle for this update. It is the Harrier FRS.1. This is coming in for the British. It's going to be at rank 7 of the good old British aviation tech tree, and also at 10.7 at least for now. Now the best way to describe this thing is it's a Harrier GR3 but with AIM-9Ls. There's obviously some other differences as well, but that's pretty much going to be its playstyle. One of the things to also note is even though it only has 2 AIM-9Ls on it right now, it should get access to 4. So we'll have to see if that comes about when this goes to the live server. Also has access to a bunch of other things that the Harrier has access to. Obviously the standard Rolls-Royce Pegasus Mark 103. It has the VTOL on it as well, plus a bunch of other cool features at the end of the day. The main thing that's the barnstormer for the Harrier is the fact that it has all the CCIPs and RPs, it has an RWR, and also this wonderful radar, the Ferranti Blue Fox. This one is really good. You know, it has a really nice search zone, really good look down, look up, and IFF, and all of that good stuff. So should work fantastically well to be able to at least spot targets and get targets sorted. The rest of the vehicle is made out of fuel, so not too much of a surprise, and has access to 2 30mm Aiden cannons at the bottom. I don't mind the Aidens, I think they're fine at these BRs. I like the noise that they make, and they generally hit pretty hard. One of the issues I have with the Harrier in general is its lack of maneuverability at mid speeds, but at the same time, you know, it could be worse, I suppose. The vehicle itself also gets access to countermeasures. It gets 60 of them, which seems to be standard for a lot of these new vehicles, and also you can get flares and chaff, which is quite nice. You also have access to some other secondary stuff, so you have 9Gs as a stock missile, then you upgrade to 9Ls, then of course you have the bombs, the HEMCs, and the rocket snebs as well. So you can take a combination of these, have a bit of fun with them, and see what you want to do. So you can take an air superiority loadout, or you can take a ground pounding loadout, which I feel like either would work depending on the situation that you find yourself in. Has all of the other standard stuff, so G-suit, wings repair, engine, and all of that, which you'll need on this thing because it really likes to overheat, which is one of its problems. The vehicle doesn't have any extra skins yet. I'm sure it will in the future, and generally it has quite a lot of interesting stuff on it though, so there's at least that going for it. Now, as somebody who's played a lot of the Harriers in general, I do have a good time with them. I do enjoy them quite a lot. They are pretty fun. What do you mean too heavy for VTOL? Are you calling me fat? Right, let's lose some weight quickly. Right, there we go. Ah. Right. So I might not have thought this through, but looks like we're going down. Right, let's try this again. But as somebody as somebody who's really enjoyed playing the Harrier GR3 and then also some of the other Harriers, I'm always happy to see another one, right? I actually thought we were going to get a Harrier for the Italians, a Sea Harrier variant, but I'm guessing they wanted to put it in for the British first, obviously with the connection to it in general. But it does have its VTOL capability, as long as you're not too heavy. It does have access to its countermeasures, which is good. Obviously doesn't have an afterburning engine, so isn't a huge heat source to lock onto, which is, you know, pretty useful at the end of the day. And AIM-9Ls, I mean, that's pretty much the standard missile nowadays, the AIM-9L and the R60M and the R60MK, so you can't really be mad, can you? Like, it's one of those things which I'm sure many people are going to be happy with. Oh dear, I did it too quickly. Right, let's just take off normally instead of me being a bit silly. So the vehicle feels pretty much exactly like the GR3. I don't know if it's like just straight modeled off it right now. The major issue or difference is the missiles and of course the skin. The radar as well is pretty cool. So you have search PD, and also, you know, you can set it to a bunch of different stuff, which is quite nice. The search radar itself seems pretty good, like it works okay, at least from what I've sorted it out at. And at the same time, I just feel like it's just a nice little extra addition. You know, it won't be that useful in the grand scheme of things, apart from like locking on the AIM-9Ls if you want to use it for it. You know, it obviously tracks them a little bit easier when it comes to the site itself. And I just feel like another Harrier is always going to be good. Like the Harrier in general is one of those which was away from the game for a long time. It was one of those which wasn't really in the game, and then a bunch of them came in at once. They had really weird flight characteristics, and it was incredibly wonky for a long time, like the way that they actually worked. And nowadays I think they fit a lot better. Apart from the GR1, unfortunately, the GR1's in a pretty rough place, but all the other ones fit pretty well at their BRs. They just have specific roles, right, which you have to kind of adhere to. Now, when it comes to the cockpit, obviously it has a really cool set of sight modes. So you got the cannon, and then you got the standard. Obviously, if I had the bombs or the rockets attached, you could get the rocket ones as well. So that's really cool. You can also activate the target points with mission bombing target. You know, all that cool stuff that the machine gets access to. So yeah, the Harrier has a very powerful radar on this thing. It has some nice modes. It has access to AIM-9Ls. Like there's really nothing that you can be mad about at the end of the day. It's going to be good. It's going to do well. The only question is it going to be able to stand up to the new 11.3s and 11.7s? The answer is no, but at least it'll be funny to watch them try and run around you as you try and VTOL them to death, which is one of my favorite things to do in the Harrier. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd like to thank Forge, Siegebreak, Carrion Crow, Nicholas Richardson, Elove Goat, Pyman, Winter Scientist, Merciless Reaper, Orange Tail, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Moxie, B. Young, and also Sem Arslan, Wilkski, Uncle Bean, Derek R., Bareen, Lafouche, and Samuel Slick for supporting the channel.